Hello Autodesk people, my name is Jay Ayala of Autodesk. I'm an engineering technical specialist based out of the Pacific Northwest, and the video you're about to see is AutoCAD MEP 2010 Schedules Tags Part 3 of 4. I want to start by just reviewing the schedule hierarchy here. At the top is the object, directly beneath that the property set definitions which facilitate the schedule tags and the schedule tables. Alright, so what we're going to do here with this video is we're going to establish how to create a company standard tag. Now there's a few things that we want to review from the previous video, which was property set definitions. We can take a look at how this pump already has the property set definitions assigned to it. So here they are. They've already been created, and we're going to leverage the mark number for our schedule tags, which we can find in the piping palette group under tags and schedules. Now these are company Autodesk's generic schedule tags that you can use. We can also find them under the Home tab in the annotation palette. Here's the same predefined schedule tags. Now we can find tags in one other place, which is under the annotation palette, under the annotation ribbon, under the scheduling panel, and here's a tool that shows us some more of those tags. So what we're going to do is we're going to first define our tag, and we're going to do that simple by using text and line work. Okay, here's an mtext command. Now a few things I want to change. I want to change the style. I do not want this annotative, not right now. And the justification to middle center. This is the most important thing. 1 inch is your text height. Always 1 inch. Remember that. And for the value here, I'm just going to put some x's. XXX-XXXX. Okay. So it might be a little hard to see, so let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. And what we're going to do next is we're going to kind of create some line work. So I'll go to my Home ribbon and I'll use my line command. Now I'm just going to sketch this out kind of rough. I don't have any particular idea of how this is going to go together, but what we can do is we're going to use the line tool. I'm going to mirror this using the center of the insertion point of the text as the mirror point. And now I'll just use a regular arc to kind of encapsulate this, if you will. And I'll mirror this as well. And I'll use the midpoint of the line to do my mirror point. So there's our basic look and feel for how our tag is going to look. And what we want to do is we want to use a tool that AutoCAD MEP uses, and it's hard to find. It took me a little while to find it. It's actually in the architecture workspace. It's under the annotation ribbon and in the scheduling panel. So if you just click on the slide out here, you can see the create tag tool, and here it is. So what we want to do is we want to use this same create tag tool in our MEP workspaces. So if I go back to my piping workspace, and let's go to the annotation panel, ribbon, excuse me. And within the scheduling panel, I can see that I've got a tag tool and a schedule tool, but I want to create tag tool right next to the schedule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the manage ribbon, and under the customization panel, I've got a custom user interface. And I'm just going to gloss over this really quick. I'm going to go to my ribbon, panels, and I can see that I've got an MEP pipe panel that I want to edit. So what I'll do here is I'll kind of explore this just a little bit. If I click on this, it'll kind of give me a preview of what that panel is supposed to look like. So here's my tag tool, and you can see it highlighting over in the left panel. Here's my schedule tool. So if we look at this real closely, I can see that I want to edit it right next to the schedule tool. So let's minimize these a little bit. So I can see I have subpanel 2, and I also have subpanel 1. That refers to my tag and my schedule tool. So if I want to insert that in the overall panel, this tag subpanel, this schedule subpanel, and now I want a new create tag subpanel. So in my row 1, I'll add a new subpanel. Here it is. And down below, I've got a list of commands that I can narrow down. So I'll type create tag, and now I'll simply click and drag that over into my new subpanel that I've just created. Subpanel 3. Now let's take a look at the schedule subpanel, and I can see that the behavior for the button style, it's large with text vertical. And I'm going to copy that over to my create tag tool because right now it's set to small. So I'll just change that to large with text vertical. And then I'll hit OK. So now I have my create tag tool in my annotation subpanel. So I'll go to my annotation ribbon, and now I can see my create tag under my scheduling panel. So I'll just initiate the command. Now I'm looking at my command prompt, and here it tells me to select the objects. Now this dialog box allows me to start defining a few things. So I'll tell it that the name is pump tag, and here's the label. What I want to change though is I want to change it to a property that comes from my pump property set definition, and the property I want in particular is called mark number. So once I finish that, I'll hit OK, and one last piece I have to define is the insertion of the actual tag. So I'll just use the insertion point of the text. So it's hard to tell what happened, but this is no longer line work. This is now what's called a multi-view block reference. And the style here is a pump tag. So I've already got my tag created here. And what I want to do is I can simply go back to my palettes here, and I can add this underneath my tag category here. But what I really want to do is I want to create a company standard palette. So I'll use my customized palettes here. Let's narrow down to my piping palette group. So I can see that it's bold. That's my current palette group. And here are all my palettes. I'll create a new one, and I'll call it Jay's Custom Palette. Now when I do this, it'll automatically get added to my current piping palette group, but I want this to be on the very bottom of the stack. So I'll just kind of click and drag this down at the bottom of the stack. Okay, let's close this. Now if I go back to my piping palette group, I'll see that I've got a brand new palette and it's completely empty. Here it is, Jay's Custom Palette. Now let me take the auto hide feature off. It's so simple to add tools to my palette. Just click and drag objects from my drawing over into my palette. There it is. Now before I continue, I want to save this file and give it a name, because what's happening is the palette is dependent on a file being saved to the network somewhere. So now what I'll do is I'll take my tag, again I'll click and drag it over to my palette group, and now I have a newly created pump tag tool that I can use. There's my tool. So I'll erase my defined tag, and let's take and auto hide this palette here. Now I can simply go to my pump tag, following the command prompt I'll select my object, and here's my tag already placed for me. Now the property set definitions are already attached to the pump, so it'll just simply report that information. Now there's a few cool things that we can do with tags. They're annotative, and they're scalable. So as I switch my scale, I can see that my tag, it's the same tag, it's just represented differently for a different scale. Now we've got a little bit of a collision. This tag is a little too big, so I want to show you some of the grips here. Here's edit attributes, here's the location tag, and then here's scale representation location. So if I click on this one, I can drag this independently of the other scaled versions of that same tag. So here we have two versions, the 1/8 inch and the 1/4 inch. So when I switch over to 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch, I have different size tags for different scales, and they remember their locations, which is great. So here's another clever thing that we can do with tags. As a function of a clever property set that we've defined earlier, I've auto-incremented the pump number. So now that I copy this around, it's really clever, and it automatically increments the pump number, as you can see here. Pump 101, pump 102, and pump 103. Now the cool thing is, if I switch my scale, it still remembers all those locations. So that's a little bit on what we can do with schedule tags. I'm sure you'll define all kinds of tags. So in summary, there's 4 things to remember about tags. You can use regular text and line work to define the look and feel of your company's standard tags. You can find the Create Tag tool in Architecture Workspace in the Annotation ribbon within Schedule panel. Tags are dependent on property set definitions. Once you create your tag, add the tag to your palettes. Use the newly created tag tools to continue adding tags to the remaining objects. Tags automatically attach PSDs to objects that don't already have PSDs attached. On behalf of Autodesk, my name is Jay Ayala, and the video you just saw is AutoCAD MEP 2010 Schedules Tags Part 3 of 4.